Call the Marvin Day Planning Subcommittee meeting to order on June 4th at 11:04. Have a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Adoption of the previous minutes.
So moved.
A motion? So moved. Okay. Items of discussion.
No.
Nope. All those in
All in
favor?
favor?
Aye.
Who made that last motion for the agenda? Sorry.
She made it
Jill
for the
did.
agenda. I made it for the minutes.
Got it. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Discussion of 2025 Marvin Day.
Oh, we're flying.
The time of year seemed great this past year in April. Easter's on April 20th this year, so spring break will be from April 18th until that following Friday. April 26th will be the Saturday at the end of the spring break. That's my recommended date. I think that looked good that time of year. It felt good. It wasn't too hot. I think doing it later mixes in with college graduation and people out of town and stuff like that. Does anybody have anything to conflict with that?
I love April. I've been pushing for April since the first one.
I think
Hi,
April
Deb.
is phenomenal, and when we set that date, we had looked ahead at all the various Easters coming up, and the 2025 one was the only one that was going to be a conflict because we were trying to avoid spring break. So
I'm okay
for
doing
this
it.
next one, do we want to move it up a couple weeks early to hit the weekend before, like not to be one of the weekends of spring break?
I don't. For me,
You run into prom though. That was the thing.
well, it's prom. We're always going to run into something, right? If we move it
Yes.
to May, you've got college graduations and then Mother's Day and whatever. I'm fine leaving it over at the very tail end. I wouldn't do it over Easter weekend, but
Right.
the tail end of it. Are we? I mean, is it? Are we really going to miss out on that? Like the people who are going to be out of town and gone for spring break. Are we really going to miss like?
Right.
I don't know. I think a lot of people may come back that Saturday and then maybe like, oh, look, let's go run over there again, especially if we kind of do it in the afternoon. Like for me, I'm like, I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference in our attendance numbers.
And I will note that like the Saturday before, like not the weekend of it, the weekend before that, like April 12th, if I was going to do like an Easter egg event or an Easter hunt, that would probably be the date. So.
Yeah, and I mean, I think if you get that early, it's chilly, rain. Like I just
So what is the official date then?
The
Is it
25th?
25th? 25th?
26, sorry,
It's a
26.
Saturday.
Was this year's the 27th?
It was.
And I kept calling it the 26th,
You
and you
did.
had to correct me over and over. So now I'll actually be correct.
So now
This
it'll
is
be right
great.
the next year.
You were just living in the future.
I was.
Yeah. I'm fine. I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference in our numbers.
Can I ask a question about that date?
Can.
Did you say can or can't?
You can. I'll allow it.
Thanks.
Still sounded like you said can't.
Sounds like I sound like can't.
I know.
Last year, well, I know one of the reasons why we kind of stopped trying to have it at the school was because originally we were doing June Marvin Days and they were like absolutely not. Are they any more potentially agreeable in April if we wanted to go back to Marvin Ridge High School?
I can ask around. I do know, like, even this year with parking, it'll conflict with, they host a lot of track meets in the spring.
That's what I remember being the problem, was that they wouldn't commit to the track schedule, the track meet schedule,
But
until
But I don't
like
think they're
February
gonna have
or
any
March,
sports
or, I
on
mean,
that Saturday because
January.
of spring break. The school's
that's a-
technically closed.
That's a good point.
So that is,
So, yeah.
this could be one year where they
I know,
might
but
actually
then we're
say
like
yes.
back and forth
I
and
know.
like we're like
But
that's my
I'm
only
hoping
thing.
in the following year, maybe we're able to incorporate Village Hall Park or something, I don't know.
oh yeah, all that parking.
All the complaints.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. I wouldn't hate to do that. I mean, Joe's really pushing to have it back at the school because it's just more parking, more accessible.
But I see your point. Unless we're committed to doing it on the Saturday that ends spring break
Break
every year to get the school every year, I see what you're saying about not wanting to keep going back and forth.
Yeah.
We also do potentially lose the fireworks at the school, but I'm okay with that because I want to lose them anyway. I know council doesn't, but
That's a
I
hot
do.
take.
You know what I mean?
Um,
So,
What about the lady? Was she not going to let us have them there again?
it's my understanding she was not agreeable. Christina, you might remember that, but it's my understanding that the lady
I didn't understand why.
was not agreeable to it
I still think we could set them off at the park and still see them.
From the high school?
We did talk about doing that.
You must
2
be able
years
to
ago.
because the people in the chimneys were all over Waxhaw like, wow, that was great. So they, you must
They
be
can see
able
it
to
from
see
there,
them,
yeah.
you know?
That's something I can definitely look into.
I didn't think about that. That's,
Mm-hmm.
Just keep pissing off.
I can call Dr. Hancock, I believe was the principal who did the rentals for us, and she was very nice and was very agreeable and stuff, so I can get with her.
It's just an idea. We can see what she says and how much it would cost
Yeah.
us to
And there is a
use
chance they
that
play
school.
sports that week, because I remember like in high school we played baseball on spring break and that weekend, so there is a possibility that there's doing something, but I will ask about that.
I'm going to go, it's more slim than normal.
Right.
I mean, it would cost us more to rent the school, but it would cost us way less because we wouldn't need shuttles and it would
But
be a little bit easier.
But they may
for-
do an in-kind. I just don't know where we're going to
True.
set up all of the booths and stuff.
Well, the first time we did use that whole like concrete walkway that leads to concessions and stuff, and I think we could still put people there. My bigger concern is I don't know that they're gonna I don't know if they're gonna be okay with a stage going either on the grass or on the sideline, like it.
Do they not have a turf field? Is it not turf?
Mm-mm,
I mean, I know they
so.
just redid the whole, I feel like they just redid that whole.
They
Didn't just redo
they
it?
redid the track. They wouldn't let us set up on the track.
I feel like the first year we were kind of half on the track, half on the grass, right? Like right
I
almost.
thought we
where, like,
were.
this-
I thought we were all on the grass. I didn't think they were going to let us set up on the actual track.
I can't remember.
I think
You might be right about that, actually.
Stage was on the grass.
Well, let's just ask the question, find out when.
Start the
we
convo.
Start the conversation, see what she says. Do it now before they're
Because
like.
it has, I mean, it has
outbursts.
bathrooms, it had everything, it was, and it even,
Lights?
it even technically could have concessions, like the boosters, if they wanna open the concession stands and sell like they normally would for a football game, we don't need to have food trucks either, just let the school make money, let the boosters make money off of our event, I'm fine with that too.
I mean, we could also. I mean, honestly, one of the biggest draws that got people there was that stupid car show. I mean, it was. I mean, we could see if they wanted to, resurrect the car show. It'd be a lot, and it would be a lot less on staff trying to deal with the park.
I could reach out to Eric and be like, what are the chances they would wanna revive the car show?
Y'all
Let's,
did that
let's.
like midday. when
Yeah,
y'all did-
but I mean, I would, start the car show at 2.
Right.
People could, the vendors could set up. I will say, so Indian Trail had their family fun day this past Saturday, and they had like 100 vendors. But they're selling stuff. It's not like
Sponsors.
sponsors.
Yeah.
They're selling stuff and they're paying
To be
to
there.
sell stuff.
That's how Waxhaws is too.
Like, we should do that.
Well, that's what I've been trying to do for years.
I know,
but
we
haven't-
should do
we
that.
haven't engaged in that at the main venue yet.
Yeah.
And that was one of the bits of feedback that out of the 17 people who filled out the survey last year, there were like 2 who were like, why is there not like a
Yeah.
farmer's market or a marketplace
yeah.
kind of thing? So if we're abandoning, and for good reason, we were trying to do the sponsorships and give them booth space, but if we were abandoning the sponsorship thing, do we get back into vendors who are paying for booth space?
Yeah, and have them pay for it.
How much would you recommend based on our attendance not being here? We certainly can't charge what Waxhaw charges for like Autumn Treasures. They get 10,000 people through there.
Yeah, and we've had such low attendance, and we burned a few vendors.
Yeah.
And not that necessarily word got around from those like 10 people, but I mean, like we've had to do with all of it, we probably need to start very small and very approachable. So like $25 or something, for the space, and then see how it works.
For $25, we do get a great turn. Like trick or treat, we had 18. This past Saturday, we had 12, and that was everybody that charged $25.
Did we make money?
Off the 5K?
Yeah.
I mean, it pretty much pays for
Paid for
itself.
something. We might have. We just had so many people and so many shirts.
Because it's like we had 185 registered runners plus 40 registered kids. And the runners are paying $30 a head, the kids are paying 15, and then we had the 12 or so vendors that that was another $600 from the
Yeah.
vendors. So it pretty much breaks even, like it pays for itself. But the bigger it gets each year, the more it will.
Well, the
the
same
more
thing
it'll
with
pay.
Marvin Day.
It'll
If
start
we-
to be profitable if you can get to a point where you're having like 300 to 400 runners. It would really start to be profitable.
Yeah.
Well, let's find out if we can get the school, and then maybe we just kind of refocus like what we're doing. So I would say by the July meeting, try to find out if we've got the school or not. If they would be willing to do that. And then we can kind of maybe revamp what we're thinking. Because otherwise it's just kind of a moot point.
Yeah.
And if we can get it and we do want to kind of revamp it, then I would say reach out to Indian Trail, reach out to Waxhaw, get their vendor list, see if they want to do it.
So April 26th, checking in with the high school, getting the vendor list from other.
We gotta check,
Festivals.
let's just check, cause I wanna say, doesn't Waxhaw do their big spring festival also, like around that time?
No idea. I live in Marvin. I don't go to Waxhaw stuff.
Kaleidoscope Festival, that was May 11th, okay, so that's good. Okay, yeah, so theirs is May 11th, so we should be fine.
Yeah, the standard competition, the last weekend of April was always the steeplechase, but
Yeah.
that's defunct now, so.
They
Is that
just
still not coming
stopped doing
back?
it? It's not coming back at
It's
all?
not coming back.
So sad.
Interesting.
Never even got to go to one, my fault.
Okay. What else we got? Tyler?
Few suggestions that we had talked about, just kind of mentioned in the last meeting and stuff, was if we're gonna do, like when we do live music, if we wanted to go the route of smaller, local, more local sourced music, especially if we're not gonna do the whole sponsor thing and our budget's gonna be 30,000, blowing our whole, like, I mean, what we did 15 grand on the band and stage last year. When I think we could probably get someone around here that uses a smaller stage, something like that for, $5 grand, and we kind of we had a resource emailed to us to find local source music. That's just an idea of, not paying $5 grand for a band to come down.
I think if we
Think about
say
things
we'll
in
provide
there.
a stage and sound, but you need to bring your own equipment, but we'll have a stage there. I feel like,
Yeah. I think that's something like, because no one smaller is gonna have like a crazy rider with insane specifications to a stage. We can just say we have this stage, like we have this 20-foot stage, like what can you do with that? That's just an idea, just throwing something out there, just to cut it
and
back.
I don't even know that the stage, I can't remember if the stage would need lights or not if it's at the stadium. Because the stadium's lit.
Yeah.
Yeah, the stadium's lit, but do they still not need the ones like right there that come down on you?
I don't know, it's a good question.
We'd have
Maybe.
to find out. But I mean, I never saw it at the football field when y'all did it that way, so.
Oh, you didn't want to see it.
Yeah.
That's when it collapsed. The stadium collapsed. You didn't want to see that.
Did y'all, I know we just had like a concession stand talk, did they let y'all do like a food truck inside? Were y'all able to
No,
pull?
they were in the parking lot.
It was up in the parking lot too.
But literally, like right at the
Right at the
entrance, of the
entrance.
gate. And there were 3.
Were y'all able to do the bounce houses?
No,
No.
that's one thing. You cannot have bounce houses on school grounds at all.
Oh, that's right. I knew that. The
So we lose that. But you can still set up the yard games and you could still have
And we
some,
can still have the vendors doing stuff for kids, but is that,
you can have the face paint folks, you can have the hair
Hair
tinsel, you can have the
yeah.
balloon guy. You can have anything you want. You just can't have inflatables and
Can we
anything
s-
that you climb on.
Can we still
About
do,
like a laser tag thing. Is that a no too?
Anything where kids could potentially get hurt seems to be a no.
probably the gun thing would not go over well as
Probably
well.
not.
Is it a problem that we don't have the barn for the animals and all that kind of stuff? Because they're a big draw and,
say,
I mean, obviously a tent for shade, but is that,
There had to be some
same
type
as
of
barn.
thing made in, like,
I mean, I don't see why they would need the barn. It's
It's-
April. It's not super hot, and
I mean,
I think
just a tent.
and they are reptiles.
Yeah,
they
but
live
it's
in the
not-
wild. I mean, I
it's-
feel like
It's not the barn for like protection like it was when we had the birds come.
yeah, it's just convenience that we
yeah.
do the barn. But I think we could still have like yeah, I think we could get creative and do some fun stuff. Like we could probably have like scavenger hunts and the kids have to go visit booths and find certain things just to like give them something to do. We could still do a kids crafts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know how the school would feel about the pottery lady with the wheel. I don't know if she would make a flippin' mess, but if she could do it without making a mess and trashing the school, I mean, that would seem to be a great
That was a huge hit, and I think she would
huge
love
hit,
to do it again.
But I just don't know,
But yeah, it's
how
always
that
just been an
works
issue
for her.
of mess.
right?
Because her whole thing is to let the kids get hands-on as opposed to just demonstrate.
Yeah, I just don't know how, or like, where else does she do those where it's not a problem?
I don't know that she does.
Okay.
I mean, I know Kat did it at that first Marvin Day, and then it created such a mess, and she thought that she was going to be coming back to the next Marvin Day.
Yeah, I
She
know.
never
That was
really
a Bob Markley
communicated. Yeah.
Sort
And
of
she was,
miscommunication.
but because of that, like, she expressed that she had bought some wheels for kids in anticipation of doing it again, which, just extrapolating from that, suggests to me that she didn't have wheels for kids before that, because it's not a thing that she does commonly elsewhere.
I would say that would not be something that I would recommend doing on school grounds because
Yeah,
I
I
think
just
we
don't
would
wanna be
get in a
liable.
massive.
But that could be, if we can figure out a way that the park and the bathrooms don't get destroyed, even if we have to rent a couple of those little hand sinks that you can put out that they have at concerts. Maybe that's a pop-up event we do at the park, kind of like your stargazing, like pottery in the park, and the kids can pay money to come, $5-10 a kid, come work a pottery wheel and learn how to potter, whatever. And then if we have to like hire somebody to come and do an extra cleaning, or we have to pay staff overtime, if the kids paid for it, then we use those funds to kind of reimburse ourselves for any mess that's made.
I know two pottery, so Kat wanted to do that, and then also the, one of the women associated with Eight Lakes Gallery down in Waxhaw was interested in doing exactly the same thing.
Is
They
that
run
a
pottery
nightmare
classes.
for y'all? Do you hate that idea?
Yeah,
Because
well,
I'm just volunteering y'all to have a messy event at your park.
I mean,
Davey's like, it's totally fine. Mind you, he wasn't there to clean up the mess.
That's like this.
Here's the thing, the hand washing stations, you can control that, so that's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be fine. And we would just pressure.
I mean, the
wash
good
restrooms
news-
and stuff.
Yeah, the good news about clay in a restroom is that, well, it can wreak havoc. If they're washing clay into the pipes, it can wreak havoc on the pipes.
I agree.
But other than that, it comes off of surfaces easily.
Well, just
So-
have the hand washing stations outside.
Well, and she brought buckets, so it was really just a matter of getting the parents to endorse kids putting their hands in buckets as opposed to like,
Or
oh
lock
no,
the
don't do
bathrooms.
that, use the bathroom.
Lock the bathrooms during it and have a porta potty.
Seriously.
I mean,
Seriously.
that might be the best
Yeah.
solution.
Because she was in expressing like her confusion, well, why was it so messy, was, I had buckets for the kids to rinse their hands off.
Yeah, I know, because the germaphobe moms were like, you're
You're
not
not
sticking your
tucking your
hands
hands
in
in
that,
there."
let's go in the bathroom, you know?
Yeah.
That's funny. And I think we talked about, Tyler's gonna look for some new face painters potentially that are closer, maybe possibly a little bit less expensive and a little bit, we're just gonna see what's out there, a little, yeah. And I'm gonna talk to the hair tinsel lady that she needs to completely revamp what she's doing and how, because it just takes too long. We need to turn and burn.
Balloon guy was still good.
Yeah, balloon guy
He's the
was
man that
good.
Magic Show crushed. I'm gonna have him do that again for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure. That was good. And I think the cool thing, if you do have the school and if we do have a stage and whatever, in
Oh,
addition to.
he could do it up on the stage.
He could do it on
Yeah,
stage,
if we get our
but
own, yeah.
in addition to local like musicians, you can always have fillers. Like there are always dance schools that
troupes.
they need to practice for their
Right.
recital and stuff. They're
It's like
always
martial
looking-
arts displays.
Martial arts, like these groups will come and
Especially like the
they'll
martial
do-
arts that come
And then
to
it brings the
practices at the
parents.
park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll do some performances and some fun, cute stuff, karate, all kinds of fun stuff.
I could go up there and tell my jokes.
Nope.
Austin's
Veto.
gonna be dad joke comedian hour.
Yeah,
No.
I don't know that we can do an hour, but.
Okay, so let's find out if we can get to school.
Okay.
That's number one.
That's number.
And then we'll continue to brainstorm.
I would say some of these ideas transfer to the park as well, and it's really just kind of a concept of if we're gonna have vendors who are selling stuff, where do we draw the line between the things that are free that we're paying for, and what are the things that the public is paying for? Because if we've got a whole bunch of vendors who are selling stuff, is the
Well,
face
that's
painting
like,
and the tinsel
but that's
still
like
free?
a wear. That's like they're getting something if they're
Yes.
buying it.
Yeah, but you would pay for, I mean, if you go to Disneyland or whatever, you're gonna
Well, then
pay through the
then-
nose
then-
for
I mean,
tinsel and face painting.
We have clearly shown that there is enough of a draw for them that they can start charging for their stuff.
Yeah, so it's just been, it's
really
just sort of
just
an
up to you
identity
guys.
crisis, is are we making this, because before it's been paid by
I know.
sponsors and free to the community.
Right.
So now if
Well,
we're
now
gonna
it's
have
not
paid
paid-
wares
right,
and we're
well-
not getting sponsors, then maybe it's still an event and we try to draw as many people as possible, but everything is, pay as you go. I don't know.
You
Yeah.
think that makes the lines like even
Shorter.
Like at the hair
Shorter
tensor,
because then it's not
shorter?
free.
It's not free.
Or I was gonna say,
I
like,
would
if
say
it's not short,
longer.
it's gonna be longer, because then there's gonna be the whole transaction. like,
Oh, no, that's
Those are usually
2
pretty quick.
seconds.
And it's all like,
Square.
Square
or
is fast
here's your
and easy.
phone.
Yeah, the lines are shorter when people have to pay for it because the parents are like, I don't
I'm
know,
not paying for
I'm
that.
not paying $5-10 per kid to get this
Until
and
they
that
start
and
whining.
this and that and this
Yeah.
and that. But yeah, I love the idea of having vendors and turning it into like a cool, because it is 2 weekends before Mother's Day. So that's like a fun way to say to these local businesses like, hey, if you
Sell your Mother's Day.
sell your
wares.
Mother's Day stuff at this event, we'll have whatever. I think we could potentially, I know you've already got some food trucks from last year that said they would come back. I would kind of lock them in just in case, either way, because we may not be able to get concessions if we can use the school. The boosters may not want to do that, or they might not be around. So I would lock in food trucks. We can always cancel if we change routes. I would lock them in, lock in the magician guy, like give him, save the date. I'll lock in the hair tinsel girl, and some of the things that we know we can lock in. I say we start giving people the dates.
Are y'all fine with locking in? I know he informed me this year, I didn't know, but Marco's has a food trailer, Marco's Pizza down here, that brought us the pizza this year.
I love that. They gave us a big discount at Marvin Day, but also I found out that they did not charge us anything. They gave like $150 worth of pizza to our deputies that were doing the speed trap that day.
Really?
They did not charge my card. They gave it to us on the house.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
they were-
So
awesome.
I love
Oh, well,
that.
we should
And,
definitely try
and
to
they
get
were
them.
Marvin Day sponsors. They
Yeah,
paid
the
$500.
Marvin- And when I talked to him on the phone, I didn't know. He was like, we kind of just got this food truck. He was like, do you have a pizza coming? This was like 2 days before. We already had
Yeah.
Hungry Howie's, but
I
I
would
would
love
definitely
that.
lock him in.
Yeah.
That's about the only one. I mean, if anybody has one that they would like, that's the only one I had to lock in.
Get the hot dogs back. They're really good.
They won't come back. They're
They didn't
they
sell
make-
enough, right?
well, no, they just built a restaurant in
Oh.
town in Oakboro.
What
So-
about the hot dog lady who's down in Waxhaw that's got her push cart? Was she like non-responsive last year to you, or was she just not available?
I guess non-responsive.
Okay.
'Cause I don't have anything.
Okay, I ate at a food truck the other day that was freaking awesome, but it was up at Lake Norman. It was called Tin Kitchen.
Yeah, I mean,
Food was amazing.
if it's gonna be this, I mean, I wouldn't hate to drop down a food truck and do 2. I don't know what y'all think about that, as opposed to the third one, because 3 feels like but everybody's kind of always just gonna be like, eh. It was okay with 3 of them, but with 2
I
of
wouldn't
them, I
mind
thought
that
there was more.
either, but also if we're gonna have vendors selling stuff, you're gonna have a crap ton of people
Yeah.
that are selling everything from
And if you have a
popcorn
car
to
show.
baked goods,
Yeah.
Right.
all over, that people can choose to eat from too, if the.
So definitely
accept
2 then.
locals.
Yeah, just 2.
And have your little ice cream lady.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's cool always. She comes, she's good.
I wish we could get the Cousin's Maine lobster back. It's so good.
I
They'll
just
never
don't,
come
I
back.
think they're too expensive, and
Yeah.
I just don't think people wanna spend that when they're with their
Wants
kids.
to be out and about for $25 on a lobster roll.
That's, I can see that working in like a Ballantine backyard where you've got a lot of adults and they're there, but when you got the kids, they just don't wanna spend $20 on a lobster roll for their 8-year-old,
Okay, well, I'll look into the date and we'll see, or not the date, look into the date there at the school, because that's gonna pin a lot of this conversation we're having. And then I'll bring that back to the July meeting and we will run from there.
We July meeting on the 2nd.
It's the 9th. Y'all moved it a
ninth.
week.
Okay.
Good call, whoever did that.
Probably. Is that me? I'm not sure.
When is spring break week again?
It's the 8th, the Good Friday's the 18th, so that following week.
There was one day that I was like, oh, I can't make it to the Marvin Day thing. I don't know. Okay. All right, what else we got?
That's probably
Are
about
we,
it, because it's all continued.
let's just talk about the fireworks real quick. Sounds like even if we do have it at the school, we could potentially shoot off the fireworks at the park. If we cannot have it at the school, what is the thoughts on fireworks at the park if we're having the event at the park too? Because I know we briefly touched upon this in the last meeting, but we do have to be prepared to kind of give our recommendation to council.
I mean,
on-
I think we need to make a decision whether you want I mean, I know you guys don't really want the fireworks. So it's, do you want the fireworks and recommend them, or do you not want them and not recommend them?
I'm more okay with the fireworks if we're having, who do you need? Oh, where's the box? I think, I'm okay with the fireworks happening at the park if the event can happen at the school. My only thing with the fireworks is I hate giving up that much real estate at the park. And I hate losing the parking and then needing the shuttles and all that hassle. But if we can't have it at the,
even if we get rid of the fireworks and we have it at the park, we're still gonna need the shuttles.
I know, but would have more parking spots at the parks. I feel like we could do one shuttle and it should be fine. And I don't know. It's also $7,500. It's a great show, but it's a huge expense. And I just
we haven't had a
personally
lot of
feel like we
visitors
haven't
who
had enough
stay.
turnout. I mean, we're paying $75, $50 to $75 per head to put on that show. And it doesn't seem to be drawing the people there. And I'm wondering if it's because the show is so darn good, people can watch it from their backyards.
Right.
They're like, I'm not gonna go. I can watch it from home. You know, it's so good. I mean, it's good.
It's a
Marvin's
phenomenal
small,
show, and I would
you
have
can
thought it was
see
a draw.
from
but-
anywhere. But I
yeah.
think people are like, I'm not gonna go deal with fighting with parking when I can sit in my backyard and enjoy it.
All right, well, let's find out if we can get the school or not. And
Yeah.
let's figure out that, and then we'll make the recommendation.
Okay.
We'll make that decision at the next meeting, and we'll make that recommendation, because I think our meeting's the same night.
All right.
Yes, it's on the
It
9th.
is.
That's fair.
So let's just push it off, kick the can, and
Yeah.
then we'll make that decision, and then make the recommendation.
The food is coming from Noodles and Company.
Interesting.
Food for what?
Monday night's meeting.
okay.
Is it a catered, or is it a?
It is catered.
I'm gonna
And
Google this.
Noodles and Company.
And I
I
mean,
think
we
I've
got.
had.
Oh.
I think I've eaten there before. Actually.
Wow,
Well-
that actually looks pretty good.
Okay. All right.
It's all pastas.
Yeah, but it could be like Asian noodles. It could be
No,
like
I'm looking
Italian
at it.
noodles.
There's everything.
Yeah.
They have Greek noodles, Asian
Yeah.
noodles, Italian noodles, mac and cheese.
All right, so I'm going to make a motion to adjourn at 11:32.
So moved.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Adjourned.